Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. This is season 1, episode 25, and today I have Kelsey Plum. If you guys know anything about Kelsey Plum, she is a UW superstar and she now plays for the WNBA team, the Las Vegas Aces. And this is June 2020, so if you've been paying attention, Kelsey just popped her Achilles. So I'm on with Kelsey today. We're talking all things WNBA, what's going to happen in the 2020 season, her injury, her recovery, what's going on at home, and more. Enjoy. Okay, Kelsey Plum, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Taking the time off.
Yeah. Not that I don't have a choice, but no, I'm kidding. I'm happy to be here.
No, I'm super excited. Thank you for joining me, even just for a little bit. There's a lot going on in your life right now, and so I want to share that with what's going on, kind of on my end with health. So let's start with just how I know you and how you got introduced to me. Obviously, I'm your dietitian, but how did you find me? What made you think, okay, I want nutrition to go to the next level?
Well, I've always grown up and I've thought we ate healthy and we ate a lot of fruits and vegetables and stuff. And so I think I had some decent habits, but I was never specific or calculated about how I ate. I just try to stay away from the bad foods, whatever you think that means. And I remember actually a summer ago, I was playing with Sue Bird, and we went to the pool. And I'm 25 years old. I'm in really good shape. I'm in my bikini and I feel good. And then I walk up to the pool and Sue's there and she's 38 years old and she's absolutely shredded. And I'm looking at her and I'm looking at me and I'm like, I need to get my life together now, now. And so I started backtracking of okay, well, what do you do and how do you do it? And, I hooked up with Susan and Susan obviously hooked me up with you. And it's literally one of the best decisions I've ever made. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to benefit from it yet as much as I'd like to, with this upcoming season, but I know that it's going to change the course of my career.
Yeah. So we've just gotten rolling on some of your stuff, gone over a bunch of your personalized nutrition. How is that for you? All that information I throw at you.
I've learned so much, and it's unbelievable to me still how little details make the biggest difference. And even just things that I thought maybe would help me on basketball, but they really translated in my life, like the way I sleep better now and how much energy I have and my acne. There's just so many elements that I didn't really consider, that a diet and certain supplements and things that you take into your body completely change just me. Physiologically, I feel mentally it stimulated me a lot differently. So I mean, anything from beets to all the colors and peppers, like spinach and kale. I'm learning a ton, and my family loves it. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, can we eat this?" And I'm like, "Your DNA is okay, whatever." But anyways, it's been pretty fun.
Nutritionist in the family now.
Literally, my brother will come up to me. He's like, "So how's watermelon? Should I go with watermelon or should I do?" I'm like, "What? You think I know?" It's funny.
Love it. Okay, so obviously you had the basics down. You just said, eat your colors, stay away from the do you think it was beneficial? Because I told you things that right? Some of it was stuff that's basics, eat more vegetables, I want your fiber up, that kind of stuff. But do you think there's room for the detail-oriented stuff, like the DNA and the nutrigenomics part, the deep blood work? Do you think that helps with the motivation angle, hearing that it's about you and then motivating you to actually do stuff that you kind of knew before, but I don't know, talk to me about that a little bit.
Yes, I would say it has significantly increased my awareness of how to train. And even just going over, like you said, I can't even pronounce that word, but for example, me lifting every day is not beneficiary to my body and how my muscles work and things like that. And so I now knowing that feel really good about Monday, Wednesday, Friday doing certain training that maybe I thought that wasn't enough or wasn't, you know what I mean? But now I know, like, literally for me, that's exactly what I need to be doing. And emphasizing like my VO2 max, that's something that I'm already good at. And so I can continue to highlight that and put that in my training and use that as an advantage. That to me kind of reaffirms like, okay, I always knew I thought I could run and for a long time and, you know, have a lot of lungs, but it makes me even more confident when I run that like, no, this is something that can separate me from the next player.
Yeah, it's like an advantage you can take advantage of.
Exactly.
So you're 25. How many years have you been in the league now?
Well, not counting this year, 3.
So like, do you think that this would have been helpful as a rookie?
Oh my gosh. I wish I would have had this in college. And I
Think
think,
you're ready for it? Like, because mentally it's so much, and like I feel like
yeah.
you have the basics down before I'm starting to talk to you about like antioxidants and the vitamin A pathway, and like I get like a little bit too excited about the science sometimes. I feel like I overwhelm you guys sometimes, but in the end, you know what you're supposed to be doing. But do you feel like rookies or college, like, do you feel like they're at the level where they're ready for this stuff?
It's interesting. I think it depends on the player and their goals of what they are trying to accomplish. I think for me, I've always been like very one way. I'm playing in the WNBA, so take it or leave it. Like that's always how I approached it. And especially seeing the transformation in my body, how I feel, how much stronger I've become, how much lean muscle I've been able to put on. Um, like I can't imagine if I had it in college, what I would even be able to look like. Because in college you can get away with it, like just
Your age?
doing what you need to do. And then by the time I hit the league, I think I just gassed out. And I for the last couple years, I think I've underperformed. A lot of it to do with being gassed out because I play in Europe, then I come back over here, and your body's worn down. I don't think nutritionally I had the right type of stuff in my body, like what I was eating, how I was recovering. I think would have made a huge difference. So it's interesting because it depends on the person, but I wouldn't have understood what you're saying, but I would have followed exactly what you were saying. So like, I don't know what to tell you about that.
I know. Well, that's why I love working with athletes. It's like you guys, I like to share and educate as much as possible, right? Because I like you guys to know why you're doing something. I think that's like a little bit of a lack in how like teams and sports nutrition, you come in and you have somebody tell you to like eat your carbs or whatever, or you have somebody tell you to take this vitamin and you do it because you're an athlete and you're like, I am coachable, I do what I'm told. But then a lot of you, I'm like, well, why are you taking that? And you guys are like, oh, somebody told me. So I kind of like to like throw in some stuff so you guys know a little bit about the why, um, but I think you guys are so compliant, and you're some of my favorite. That's why I only work with athletes now. I literally
Ah,
have to hold your hand. Sometimes I have to hold hands, but really, like, you guys are so easy.
well, that's nice because that's not always the case. So I'm glad that it works for nutrition.
Uh, yeah, we did change it. We like not necessarily changed up, but we validated your training regimen with Susan. So we're talking about Susan Borchardt for people who don't know. She's like my other half of what I do. She does like the strength and conditioning for a lot of you guys. And so we work really well together. So I give her some of my genetic recommendations that I see for you, like your muscle recovery and your muscle damage risk and things that are totally genetically tied. And if you're training in a way that's going to push your muscles too hard and you're not doing like cross training that you need, you're not going to recover as well. You're going to be so sore, but that's all you know because that's your genetics. That's how your body's always been.
Right.
So it's been fun to work with the strength and conditioning coaches, kind of helping you guys get like a full whole plan.
I wish I would have done like pre-pictures and even did like more, and then like took a picture 6 months later. Cause people will like, I won't see, well, I now will like run into and they'll be like, wow. And I'm like, I didn't do it. I just followed what they told me to do, but it's pretty amazing. So thank you for you guys are the best at what you do.
Oh my God, thanks. Well, you're awesome to work with. Tell me about the injury. Bump, bump,
Yeah.
bump. Texted me and I was like, fuck.
So I've been training for 3-on-3 to qualify for the Olympics. So I'm on that team, and I literally was playing. I've been playing pretty consistently throughout the week, once or twice, and it was game point. I caught the ball. I ripped and went by this dude. I just planted, no contact, and just gone. Like I knew right away. I wasn't tired. I wasn't fatigued. It was really frustrating because I felt like I was at the point where I'm like touching the rim, like super explosive. I've never been able to do that, and so I felt like really, really good about where I was at physically. And it's a little bit of a setback, but that's okay. I'll be back. Just a matter of time, but still, it can be frustrating.
What did it feel like when it happened?
I felt like I just got shot in the back of my leg. Like just, I feel like it just got blown up. It luckily didn't curl up the back. Some people have that happen. And fortunately, it was right in the tendon. Some people tear it towards the calf, and then some people tear it towards the bone in your heel. So fortunately, doc didn't have to touch anything, just the tendon. But I've gotten surgery, and in a couple of days, I'll actually get this cast off and be put in a boot. So I'm pretty excited about it.
You feeling okay? Like, do you think recovery is going well?
I think it's going great. I think it's going really great. I'm taking an immense amount of vitamins and supplements. So if that's not helping me recover, I don't know what will.
No, like, I mean, part of why I love players that like keep me on long term, because like once I do your genetics and you got kind of like know how I work, you guys can pretty much roll. But I love people that like keep me on for maintenance, like longer career, because I'm like an insurance policy. Like you get injured or you go into surgery, like you were in surgery how many days after you got injured?
3.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
wild. I mean, for most people, it's like they scatterbrain, they have to find a surgeon, like you knew exactly who you're going to go to, who's done other players' injuries.
Right.
But like you texted me and I'm like, within 24 hours, I have your protocol. And your poor mom, I'm like, I put together like morning, afternoon, evening, this powder, this, da, 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 da. How's she doing like feeding you?
Oh, she's been great. She finally got one of those trays and
Yes.
just put them all in there. Because I think she was just over it. Like, here, you take it.
Yeah.
No, she's been great though, and it literally was like shipped to the house as soon as I got back. It was there. Um, I actually really enjoy my fish oil shot. Um, some
Nice.
people take shots. I'm just taking fish oil shots, so it works. And the family's tried it. So it's
Yeah.
going good.
I know. I push the fish oil. I feel like I'm like the omega-3 dietitian or something. But
You need like an endorsement with that, because I feel like you really do push it.
I know. You know what's really funny is my husband's in the seafood industry.
Seriously?
So I feel like I need like a disclosure statement. Like I am recommending omega-3s, but hey, my husband sells fish. Like, I don't know. Is this a conflict?
Probably.
Like,
That's funny.
just so funny. But yeah, so I throw a ton of omega-3s at you and we have you on some other stuff, but it helps so much. And the reason why I have you go ham on that stuff is I don't want your tendon healing stiff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you're stuck and you can't move it for a while and it's gonna start healing super fast. But if you don't have enough protein, if you don't have enough the right amino acids, you don't have enough anti-inflammatories like the high dose fish oil, it's gonna be harder once you start being able to like move. And so anyway, some of my other players who've done the same injury have had really good results with it. So hang in there. I promise that you'll have a lower supplement regimen here coming up quick.
Okay, great.
Uh,
Uh,
Okay, so like WNBA just announced they're going to have a season. They're going into what we're all calling the bubble. Clearly you're not, but like
Yep.
what are you hearing on the underground? Like what do the players think? What do you think? Or like COVID, I don't know, like what do you think?
It's really interesting. There's recently, because the deadline is the 25th. If you opt in or opt out to play in this season, a lot of players are starting to come out in the next, well, they have yesterday, the following days, and then today and tomorrow before the 25th, and basically posting like, I'm sorry, but for different reasons, I will not be playing. And, for me, I've, before this injury, I was like, you know me, okay, a bubble, I can do it. Like, let's do it, let's go. And now I think my perspective has changed a little bit because I fortunately was allowed to have access to a gym, a weight facility during this time. And so I was able to get the proper training to feel like I could be in good enough shape to compete. And we all know that being in shape and being in basketball shape are two very different things. So one of my biggest concerns, even above COVID, would be just injury, because like we both know, to give someone 2 weeks of a training camp and then have to play basketball at a really high level is, I think, extremely impractical and extremely risky for players. And and then talk about risk, you talk about COVID, and there's people that are at risk health wise, and then we don't know the long-term effects of this virus. We don't know necessarily, like Florida right now, I think, and Arizona are the two biggest hotbeds in the United States with COVID. So you might not have COVID and you might fly in and get it on the way to the bubble. And now what? Like, there are so many, um, missing pieces, but at the same time, people want to play basketball, and I get it. And people feel like, I've trained for this. I want to play. I want to play with my teammates, which I really respect. And so I think you just have to do what's best for you. And then add on to the fact that I'm not a Black woman, and I can understand how it must feel right now to be a part of historic events. And I think just the injustices and things that are happening and have happened and have continued to happen. I can't imagine trying to weigh that emotional burden on me and then go try to perform and perform well. We're in a job, and it's like any other job. If you don't perform, good things don't happen. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and um, I don't look at anyone differently if they decided to play or not play. I think you got to do what's best for you, and it's tough. There's no right answer.
Right. What does the Aces roster look like? Are most going?
Well, we'll find out. The 25th is in a couple days, right? So I think I would love to cheer my team on, um, and throw things at the TV in a good and bad way. But that's everyone's personal decision, and I think it'll be solidified in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I know. And then there's active players now with COVID.
Yep.
Some asymptomatic, totally
Yep.
asymptomatic, some sick. And so then it's like, okay, monitoring recovery, and then what does that look like as far as quarantine and then temperature checks? And I'm just so interested to see how this goes with all of you in one spot, training, doing every
What
precaution
is
possible.
what's your personal opinion on it, if you don't mind me asking?
So I've been more strict than almost everybody I know, but that's because my husband has an autoimmune condition.
Hmm.
So I live with somebody who has underlying issues. So if he got it, he might be the one that goes on the respirator. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we quarantined. So I'm in Seattle, um,
Right.
which was the first hotbed, right? I mean, it spread in Seattle like it was like crazy. And so I knew that it was going to be crazy. I just had a hunch with my science background. And so we have a boat that we can sleep on. And so I pulled us up to the San Juan Islands, which you went to UW, you know San Juan.
Yep.
So I pulled us up to the San Juan Islands probably like 2 weeks before Washington actually went under stay-at-home orders. And my husband was so irritated. Everybody thought we were crazy. And then all of a sudden everything hit. And so luckily we were quarantined for a while.
Wow. Wow.
Now things are starting to open back up. Like, so we still haven't eaten takeout. I have not been to a grocery store. Like,
Dang.
I've ordered all my groceries. I had to go into, where did I have to go? I think the pharmacy or something, or no, because I did the drive-through there. I had to go in somewhere, I'm forgetting. And it was like masks and gloves, and even in Seattle, you see people no mask.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I feel like I'm more on the strict side of it. And if I was at the top making decisions, politics and people go back and forth, but I just try to put myself in other people's shoes. Like if I was at the top trying to make decisions on opening, reopening, whatever, I feel like I would rather err on the side of caution, because if I get it wrong, it's way worse than I thought, and I was too loosey-goosey about it. That could really hurt people. But then if you open up, and then if you don't open up or whatever, then people think you're crazy and you lost a lot of, I don't know. I feel like it's a lose-lose.
It is. It is a lose-lose. It really is.
You don't know.
You're right.
So I don't know. I feel like I've been more cautious. Like, I was talking to a lot of the players with the Players Association, because there was girls overseas when this was happening. So like, do they come back? Are they allowed to come back? What's going to happen with the season? So, because I work with players all over the league. And so it's like, so I was talking and helping the Players Association. They were like, what do we send out to all of our girls? Like, what do we say? Just kind of getting other medical people's opinions. And I was like one of the ones that was like, everybody needs to be on lockdown right now. And they were like, seriously? Well, even if it's not in your city? And I was like, it's coming.
Right.
So I don't know. I think I've been more strict than normal, but I also understand the need. People want to watch sports. You guys want to play.
It's tough. Ugh, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then if you opt out, like financially, there's a pressure. It's just I can't imagine. So.
And then you talk about, like, you were talking about inequality and kind of what's going on now. Like, first of all, there's the pay issue. Like, you guys don't get paid enough anyway. Like, period. End of story. You guys don't get paid enough. You guys made a big stride with your new contract, which was amazing. You're working towards like fair pay and stuff, but then if you opt out, then there's that financial burden again that you're facing. Yeah, and then you're doing some good equality work, and you're doing some stuff while you're not playing, and you were just talking to me about some Google stuff. So tell me what's going on, like what you're going to spend some of your time doing while you're not competing this season.
Well, I'm really excited about this opportunity that my agent brought to me with Google, and it's just a Zoom call. Really, they are having a summit on gender equality, and obviously in sports. That's why I'm on, and just talking about a lot of different topics. One of the questions that was brought to my attention was, the underrepresentation of Black women in the WNBA. Our league is made up of over 80% of Black women, and yet that's not represented in marketing, that's not represented in coaching, that's not represented in general managers. And so it's this dynamic of how can you really look out for your players when there is no representation for that. And I think in addition to that, we talk about equality in sports, and we're pushing, like you said, for fair pay and things like that. And we have made strides. We're continue to push and fight. But it's difficult. I think, and our society has come a ways with gender roles. However, it's just not even close to where it needs to be. And one of the things that Google is working on is initiatives to example, when you Google search March Madness, not just men's March Madness appears in the search. And so obviously there's March Madness, men's and women's play. And so I just think it's important, and it's really cool that they're pushing for this, because let's be real, our whole lives, Zoom calls, everything's circulated around the internet and technology. And so for them to be able to recognize that there's an extreme issue and a lack of equality in this is the first step.
Yeah, that sounds really cool to be a part of.
I'm excited, and hopefully, it leads to more things. And there's other things I'm working on, entrepreneur stuff. I'm also trying to just be a little bit more well-rounded. I don't think I've ever really had the opportunity to take time where I physically can't do anything, and try to figure out, maybe life beyond basketball, spend some time with my family. So this whole thing, as bad as it is I think one of the biggest blessings in disguise.
I love that. I love your outlook. And I think not
And,
like you're only 3 years into the league, you have a huge career ahead of you. You're super young. And I think not enough young players, you guys are so focused on the here and the now and the performance now, that longevity is something that I like preach and talk about. And I come from it. I look at it from a cellular perspective, right? Like, I don't want you guys to burn out and deplete so that you do get injured and you injure out, or you burn out. And so this whole health aspect of like, how do you last in a professional sports career as long as possible? And that's why I do like so much blood work, and I look at so many markers, and I'm, tweaking things all the time, because I'm trying to get you your physiological body to play as long as possible. But also there's this emotional and mental aspect, and then looking at life beyond the game. And so I think a lot of young athletes could be taking more time to think about like their own brand as a person, and what you're going to do beyond basketball, and like what your passions are outside, because you can't play forever.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's awesome that you're taking some of the time to just like zoom out and look at the whole thing, and really think about like stuff you really love, stuff you really hate, what you can see yourself doing, what some of your other passions are, and how that melds with like, how you're known now, and like your own community and stuff. Like, you are adored in Seattle. You're like a Seattle like superstar.
Seattle has shown a lot of love. I'm very, very grateful. It's one of the best cities in the world.
The most popular video I've ever seen of you? Do you know which video I'm talking about?
Me throwing the shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That honestly, it's unbelievable. So like, okay, really quick story. I get drafted. I go to San Antonio. They have me go to a Spurs game. I go to the game. I'm excited to be there. They announced during a timeout, ladies and gentlemen, number 1 pick, Kelsey Plum. And it's crickets. And I'm like, and I'm already mad because before we walked out, they're like, here's the t-shirt cannon, if you want to launch some t-shirts. And I'm like, okay, like I can throw it, but like, you don't think I can get it there, that's fine. So I was already irritated about that. Then there's crickets. And so I'm just like, you know what? This is dumb. Like, why am I here? So they give me a couple shirts, and I just start launching it. And like the crowd starts really like noticing, and they're like, no, like what's going on? And so then I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm getting more cheers for how far the shirt is thrown than like number 1 pick, whatever. So I just start chucking it as far as I can into like the upper decks. And by the time I left, I got a standing ovation from the court, which was like, and then, I wake up, and I have all these text messages, and my cousin texts me, and she's like, you're on World Star. And if you know World Star, I'm trying to think, oh my gosh, what have they caught me doing? Like, I'm really trying to think like something, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, did I do something illegal? Like, I'm really trying to think. And then I go and I'm like, seriously? And that video got so many hits. I got so many followers off of it. I was like, this is a joke.
It's still viral. Like, and it's so funny because that's such a competition attitude that you took. You're like, you're gonna give me a t-shirt cannon? Like, screw you. I'm gonna show you. And then people are like, oh damn, she can play. Like you're like, see, you jerks. And so I was a center fielder. So like softball and volleyball are my sports. And so I was a center fielder, so I can huck it. And I saw you do that and I was like, oh, she's got an arm. She could play center.
Oh man, good times, good times.
Well, thank you so much for like chatting and telling us all about what's going on with you. It'll be fun to follow like the W this season.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I adore talking to you. Okay, speedy recovery. We will be in touch about ramping down your schedule soon. Your mom can call me if things are getting crazy.
Okay. She was like, you should have seen her face. She was like, all of it? It's like, all of it.
I know. Like I need like a little like, I apologize, just like thing at the beginning. But all of this is for a good purpose, for a good cause.
Mom was like, these are legal? And I'm like, I think so.
You pay me to make sure that like my
Yeah.
on if I get you on something wild.
Oh my gosh. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. We'll have a good day. Heal up, and I'm excited to see your Google stuff too. Is that going to be like a live launch? Are they going to do some marketing around that, or is it just
No, I think it's just within the company, like on Zoom, but I'll let you know how it goes.
awesome? Well, I want March Madness Google to show women's when it comes up and not just men's. I think that's a
That
great.
would be a start, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, talk to you later.
Have a good day. Okay, bye.